Mr. Chairman,
yes.
at the risk of prolonging the hearing, could I take just a moment to address the two questions that you put to me in your opening statement?
Yes, sir.
Very quickly. First of all, one of the frustrations that I have had ever since taking this job has been that the Department of Defense is organized and structured to plan for war but not wage war. And the only way I have found that I have been able to get the kind of urgent action to create the MRAPs, to get the additional intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance work, to do the counter IED effort, has been by pulling together these ad hoc groups, as you've described them, these task forces, where I chair them and essentially have all of the senior players, both uniformed and civilian, at the table. And to be able to force the kind of rapid action that has been necessary to support those in the field. In several of these areas, I think that the work has reached a point where I think I can begin to take actions to begin to return these efforts to their traditional, where they would traditionally have a bureaucratic home. The MRAP task force, the ISR task force, the counter IED task force that is co-chaired by General Paxton and Undersecretary Carter, never was intended to last more than another 2 or 3 months from now. So I think in at least 3 of these areas that we will be able to move back toward the traditional structures in the Department of Defense. But long term, it is a serious issue for the Department, and frankly one that I have not yet found the answer to in terms of how to get urgent action in an area supporting men and women in combat today that ranges across the entirety of the Department, both uniform and civilian, and all the different defense agencies. With respect to the balance between future threats from near peers and others, as opposed to our focus on irregular warfare, I would just remind the committee that if you took a broad look at our budget, about 50% of our procurement budget is for what I would call long-term modernization programs to deal with near-peer countries. About 40% is dual purpose, like C-17s and other things we will use no matter what kind of conflict we're in, and about 10% has actually been for irregular or the kind of asymmetric warfare we've been talking about. So I think we have a very large number of programs in this budget that are aimed, and in fact half of the procurement budget roughly, that are aimed at the longer term, more sophisticated threats that this country will face in the future. Thanks for the extra couple of minutes.